Well, from sneakers to Bitcoin, the former CIO of Nike recently became the CEO of Bitcoin startup Bitreserve. This is a platform that lets users access, hold, move currencies and commodities without traditional banks. Anthony Watson with me now. So, Anthony, Bitreserve responsible for something like $16 million worth of transactions globally. Who is using your service and why?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on the show today. I'm excited to be here. We have a lot of people globally using our service. So we have 145 users, 16,000 users in 145 countries around the world. And they're either holding forms of value with us or they're trading and exchanging forms of value.
So does this make some of the potential Bitcoin users feel a little bit more reassured? In other words, you're pairing it essentially with the value of a currency that's already understood.
And that's quite correct. So the value that we bring to the Bitcoin community today is that we bring confidence and stability to what is a highly volatile form of value. Specifically, we peg to traditional fiat currency. So, for example, euros, dollars, yen. So we take the volatility and bring confidence to the marketplace, and certainly for our members when they hold forms of value with us.
So what is your future vision? From what I understand it in the U.S., Bitcoin is harder for people to understand because we're used to more or less trusting the dollar no matter how much we complain about it. But in other countries where the underlying currency is more volatile anyway, Bitcoin makes sense.
Well, I would disagree with that. So Bitcoin has three fundamental challenges to become a ubiquitous world currency. The first challenge is it's highly volatile, and Bitreserve is the first company in the world to offer stability for free. The second issue with Bitcoin is predominantly today its user population is traders and speculators. But the third problem with Bitcoin, and I think this is the biggest problem that's going to have to come if it's going to become a ubiquitous world currency, is the fact that it's probably the most unequitable and unequal form of value the world has ever known. And what I mean by that is Bitcoin today currently is the US dollar equivalent value augmented or aggregated is about 3.5 to 5.5 billion, depending on who you speak to. 957 people, that's 957 people in the world own 50% of that value. I think until those challenges are overcome, it's going to be very difficult for Bitcoin to grow as a global ubiquitous form of value.
Anthony, quick question. You said stability for free. Then how are you making money?
So our model is based on a reserve type model. So when people send and receive value using our platform, they hold value on our platform as well, which is what we call a reserve. And within that, our long-term vision is to make sure that we can take a revenue stream by holding it in non-risky or low-risk securities, for example, U.S. government bonds or treasury bonds as an example.
Anthony, I just want to ask you, I know you worked at 3 banks prior, then you worked at Nike, and now you're the CEO of Bitreserve. What are you bringing from the banking world and the sports merchandising world to Bitreserve?
So whilst Nike was an amazing company to work for lots of reasons, my real background and experience and history is in banking. So before I joined Nike, I was a managing director and CIO for Barclays Bank in Europe and the Middle East. I was on Barclays Executive Committee for Europe as well. Before that, I was with Wells Fargo. I ran international operations and technology for Wells Fargo across 44 countries and sat on its Executive Committee for Europe and Asia. So my background is deep within banking, specifically within payments. I've built some of the largest payment platforms in the world for some of the biggest banks.
All right, Anthony, we're glad to have you with us. I'm sure Bitreserve happy to have you at the helm. Thanks for joining us. Anthony Watson, CEO of Bitreserve.